Almost 80 degrees in the shade. It is hot out here. So how do you keep your animals safe? Hey everybody, welcome to Country Girl with Kathy Jarvis. And we are in the beginning of a heat wave. 90s, what is it? Let me check. 92 degrees outside. So how do you keep your animals safe when it's this hot? First of all, you don't leave them in the car. You can even... Hey baby. Yes. Okay. First of all, never leave them in the car. Even if you have the car running, it's not safe. At 85 degrees outside, you leave the car with just the window open just a hair, and that's going to be within 10 minutes, it's going to be 102 inside the car. And if you've got the car running, if you have the car running, you have the chance of the animal knocking it into gear and it rolling away. And a lot of these new cars, when you leave the key inside and leave the car running, you cannot lock the doors. Or if you can lock the doors, you can't unlock them with the key fob. You have to have a manual key. And that usually sets the car alarm off. So it's really not safe to leave the car running and leave the animal in the car, even with the windows open and the air conditioning on. You never know what's going to happen. And I have a little pest here. This is Dexter. Dexter's happy because Dexter has a bunch of cooling things to keep cool. One thing you have to watch also is the humidity. If it's super hot, if the humidity is super high, it intensifies the negative effects of the temperature, making the animal harder to cool off. Most of these animals cool off by panting, and if the humidity is high, they can't produce enough cool air into their lungs to cool themselves off. So keep an eye on the humidity. Limit your outside exercise. Someone wants attention. Limit the outside exercise. If it's super hot and warm, try to keep your walks in the early morning or in the evening. Do not exercise during the heat of the day. And when you do take them on the walks, make sure they have plenty of water and keep them off of the asphalt. Asphalt gets very, very hot. And if you can't put your hand on it and leave it on there for 5 seconds, don't expect your pet to be able to walk on it either. Carry extra water and leave the animal rest. If it says it has to rest, find a cool shady spot and leave it rest until it's ready to go again. Don't force them to walk. Walk on grass as much as possible. Try to stay off the pavement. Okay, another one is don't rely on fans as the only method to cool the animal. Fans are good. They do help. I have all the fans running. In fact, if you notice in the background, the porch fan is even running. But the porch fan and the fans inside the house do not cool an animal as much as they cool a person. They help, but it's not the only way to cool. You shouldn't rely on that as being the only way to cool your animal down. You can do other things that are more efficient, and we'll get to those in a little bit. Provide ample shade and water. If your animal is outdoors, protect them from the heat and the sun, and they'll have lots of fresh cold water available. You can add ice cubes to the water. I have a watering station for the animals that I put a one of those water bottles that we use. I freeze it, put that inside of the container, and add regular water around it. That way it stays cooler longer, and I can just refill. I can just put new bottles in there as the other one ice melts down. So that helps a lot. Tree shade and making a shade with a tarp is a lot better than a doghouse. The trees and the tarp will allow air to flow underneath of it, which also helps cool the animal. Whereas a doghouse will only make the condition worse because there's no way air can get in there and flow, and the sun is just beating down on the top of it. So doghouses are not good for keeping a dog or an animal cool in the summertime. Another thing you can do to keep your pet cool inside is to, again, turn on fans, have the air conditioning going, pull your drapes, keep the area cool, dark, and that will allow for a more comfortable environment and cooler environment for your animal. Cool your animal both inside and out. Now, what I mean by that is you can make DIY popsicles, make your own popsicles for them, small ice cubes that they can put in the water that they can crunch on. Kiddie pools, if they're outside, put a kiddie pool. A sprinkler, yard sprinklers, they love that. Another thing you can do is give your dog a bath in cool water. And if it's an indoor dog, you can use a cooling vest, mats, or wraps. Or just take an old towel and put some cool water, not cold, cool water, wring it out, and just lay that on them for a while. But once it starts to dry out, take it off of them because that'll make them even warmer, which you don't want to do. One of the things that you have to look out for is heat stroke. Now, an animal showing heat stroke will be panting heavily. They'll have a glazed look in their eyes. Their heartbeat will become very rapid. They will have difficult time breathing. They will be extra thirsty. They'll just lay around. They won't want to move at all. They may run a fever. They may be dizzy, have dizziness, and lack of coordination. When they do get up, they might not be able to stand up. They might fall over. They might be drooling and a lot of saliva coming out of their mouths. They could possibly maybe vomiting. Their tongue may be deep red or purple in color. They can have seizures, or they can even go unconscious. So those are the main signs of heat stroke that to look out for. And the animals that are mostly at risk are the very old animals, very young animals, animals that are overweight, out of condition, especially if you're taking them on walks and they're not used to going walking. Any animal that has heart disease or respiratory disease may suffer from heat stroke easily. Certain type of breeds of dogs, such as the boxers, the pugs, the shih tzus, and other dogs or cats that have very short muscles are also more susceptible to heat stroke. So if you have a dog or animal that you think is having a heat stroke, what should you do? First thing you need to do is move that animal out of the sun into the shade or into an air-conditioned area. Apply ice packs or cold towels on their head, neck, and chest. You can run cool but not cold water over them. Do not take the garden hose and just squirt them down with ice cold water. That will send them into shock. Allow them to drink small amounts of water at a time or even lick on ice cubes. And as soon as you can take them to the vet, get them to the vet. But again, make sure that the car is not overly heated because you don't want to add to it. Cool your car down first or wrap them up in cold towels before you put them in the car to take them to the vet. So that is mainly my suggestions on how to protect your animals during this hot period. Keep them inside as much as possible, under a fan, in the air conditioning. If they're outside animals like my cats come in at night, but they're outside animals during the day, I provide plenty of water. They have 1, 2, 3, 4 watering stations plus the fish pond that they can get water from. They have the fan here on this porch that they can lay on. They have plenty of shade that they can get under. Another thing to be careful about is they will seek any shade they can get. So be careful when you drive. If you park your cars outside, make sure you look under those cars and make sure there's no cats lounging underneath there just because it's cool. I had to chase my cats out today when I went up the road because they were underneath the truck, nice and cool. So be careful. Take care. Take care of your animals. Take care of yourself. Drink plenty of water. Keep yourself hydrated as well as your animals. And remember to dream big. Follow that dream. Like, share, subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye, everybody. God bless.